and gentlemen, buckle up because Wreckfest 2 has finally here. Well, sort of. The long-awaited sequel with the ultimate demolition derby experience just launched in early access. And today we're taking a deep dive to see what's new, what I loved, and what needs to be improved. So Wreckfest 2 is shaping up to be a chaotic, metal-bending masterpiece that all hoped for. Or do we think it's been released a little bit too soon? Let's find out. So just a quick disclaimer, I got given a key for Wreckfest 2 and thank you so much to Dead Good Media PR for giving me the key so I could cover it for you guys. First things first, Wreckfest 2 takes everything that we loved in the original and cranks it up to 11. The physics engine was completely overhauled, making the crashes feel real and even more realistic and satisfying. Expect more car detail damage and individual parts flying off, realistic deformations, and even better with its weight distribution in collisions. Now, an example of this was a few times, well, maybe a little bit more than a few, I would be crashing into cars or cars would be crashing into me, and the more damage my car took, the more harder it actually was to drive. So this is just really more realistic and it's really fun because you kind of get penalized for basically hitting things or crashing into other cars. Handling has been more fine-tuned than the previous Wreckfest. But in a good way, it's smoother, to do the corners is easier, suspension reacts more natural. Overall, the game just feels more immersive when you're behind the wheel, or in my case, a controller. If you love the chaos in the first Wreckfest, well, you're in for a treat. On the visual side, Wreckfest 2 is sharper, better textures, better lighting effects, and improved environmental destruction. Now, I love this bit where the track felt more alive because of the visuals. However, I'm not going to deny I actually had to turn down my graphic settings to a medium for this. I'm currently rocking an RTX 3080 and I was struggling at points with graphic wise. So like I said, I had to crank it a bit down because I couldn't keep up with it. So an example of this is when I was trying to just do a quick race, which is with 24 cars, my PC generally just couldn't run it. The experience was awful. The lag was next to none. Now, when I did a race with only 8 other cars, it ran perfectly well. Now, let's talk about what's new with Wreckfest 2. Wreckfest 2 introduces brand new car models, but let's be honest, there's only 4 available currently. Now, the developers have promised a much larger lineup down the road, and I'm really excited to see what cars will be available on launch. Tracks also have an upgrade. We've got a new layout, more interactive objects on the track, and dynamic destruction that makes every race feel unique. The developers are experimenting with more unpredictable elements like collapsing structures, breakable barriers, which could lead up to some insane races. Customization has also gotten some love, although it is in early access. The plan is to introduce deeper tuning options and even body modifications where you can craft your own ultimate derby machine. Alright, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, early access. With all the exciting upgrades, Wreckfest 2 just isn't quite ready for the prime time just yet. There are some noticeable gaps in the game and some areas honestly feel really rushed. So let's dive into this a bit deeper. First up, the content is extremely limited. The early access only launched a handful of vehicles and tracks, which means it basically can get really repetitive. And if you're expecting a full Wreckfest experience right away, I'm gonna be honest with you, you're gonna be extremely let down. Now let's go on to the bugs and some hiccups along the way. Some players have reported cars behaving strangely, getting stuck in the ground, flipping unrealistically, or AI opponents acting a little, let's just say confused. While it's fun and we can laugh and go, haha, oh my god, what is that? In a kind of way, it just reminds us that this game needs a lot of polish. Now, let's also not forget about the missing features. Right now, career mode is absent, and some online options are honestly bare bones, we're still waiting for deeper customization. Multiplayer for me was very broken. I don't have a very good experience with multiplayer, and I'm not going to basically polish it up and make it sound lovely because I had a terrible experience. I basically found it really hard to find matches, and when I was entered, I'd sometimes get kicked out, and then sometimes I would be forever spectating and I wouldn't even load so I could play basically the match with everybody. Now, this is super frustrating because Wreckfest is known for multiplayer and it's very key for the game. So let's just say they need to work on it. I have heard this from other people, so it's not just me. I've been looking online and I've also seen some other people, say some good choice words about multiplayer. If you're a casual player looking for a full Wreckfest experience, you honestly might want to hold off now. I'm going to be honest, we've talked about this before on the channel, but I have a very love-hate relationship with early access. I totally get that companies need to release their game for funding, and that might be why the Wreckfest devs did this, because they basically need to fund it. And although I understand this, to release it with such bare bones is a little bit of a sting. So, should you jump into Wreckfest 2 in early access? I mean, they've released a roadmap. It looks really promising. And I guess if you're a really diehard fan, the answer is yes. If you're not and you're casual, I guess you should kind of hold off and just see what kind of comes up with these updates. Overall, the game looks fantastic and it does have a lot of promise. It just needs to be flushed out. They've honestly improved the graphics, the physics, the handling. It's very good. But if you're expecting a fully polished experience with all the bells and whistles, I would say wait till more features roll out. Either way, I had a lot of fun playing Wreckfest 2, I can't deny, and I can't wait to play it with the community. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling about Wreckfest 2. Are you jumping in or are you going to wait for full release? If you've enjoyed the breakdown, please hit the like button and subscribe for more Wreckfest updates. I'll see you for the next video, friends. Bye!